So before I start, I wanted to have a sense of who's in the room. Who's a developer here? No developers? Couple there. Entrepreneurs? Okay. Investors? Philanthropists? Good. Okay. All right, so I wanted to start by telling you a bit about RSK, because I don't know how many of you are familiar with what we do and where we are at in the development cycle. RSK is a sidechain running on Bitcoin. The company started in 2015, so we've been around for a while now, and we launched our mainnet early in 2018. There you have some stats. Today we actually hit a really interesting milestone, which is that we have more than half of Bitcoin's hashing power in our network today, this morning. And that means that because we are a sidechain and because we are a Turing complete sidechain, basically we are the smart contract platform, the most secure smart contract platform in the world at the moment. And it's live, and it works, and you can actually do anything that you currently do on the Ethereum blockchain. You can port it and use the same language and bring it to RSK. So that's just the context, okay? And this is our full stack. Some of these things are already done. The green part is what we currently have in place. And then on top of the smart protocol, which we call RSK blockchain, what we're building is a series of protocols that are the equivalent of the Amazon Web Services of a decentralized network. So we're creating protocols for each of these verticals initially, and then we're going to be expanding to more, with the idea that third-party developers and startups and even companies can basically provide these services using our decentralized infrastructure. We right now have already the protocol of the directory. You can actually register domains using our protocol, and also register domains in multiple blockchains. And we are also recently launched in Consensus, we launched the payments protocol. The next phase of this is the standard APIs and libraries, so that developers can actually bring their distributed apps into our ecosystem and then bring their users. That's kind of like the big picture. And we're building this slowly but surely since 2015. It's a very complicated development process. It has to be secure, it has to be robust, it has to be 24/7. So this is our vision. Now, if you build it, they will come. I don't know how many people remember this movie. It was a while ago. But it's not the best marketing strategy, okay? We don't want to wait until we build it until they come. And that's why we're focusing from the studio, which I will talk about a little bit, on basically a top-down approach. What we're doing now is we're working to create the best development environment for developers and startups in the distributed world, okay? So our value proposition is you as a developer or as a startup, come work with us, and we're going to be providing the best tools, the best integrations, the fastest network, so that you can deploy your applications, not only pure blockchain applications, but also some hybrid applications. And for this, we're using, at the moment, two key programs. One is the Innovation Studio, one is the Ecosystem Fund. The Innovation Studio was announced, both things were announced a month ago, and we already have staff here in San Francisco, and this is what we're focusing on. We're building and integrating easy-to-use tools into our platform. So we're actually creating APIs, creating libraries, but also talking to startups in the ecosystem here in San Francisco to see what they are working on and bringing them on board to our platform. We're engaging with the Bitcoin community as a start, but we're also interested in talking to people that are not from blockchain, not from Bitcoin, just developers, because we want to create tools and libraries for JavaScript, C#, etc., so that you can actually focus on what you do, what you know how to do, and we can take care of all the underlying technology and complexity that goes under the hood. And we also think that the studio needs to be a place where innovation happens. So our staff in the studio is a combination of developers, people like me that are coming more on the venture world and working with startups, helping with business models and basically scaling up businesses. So it's a holistic approach to help developers and startups engage with the ecosystem that we're building and helping them succeed as a company. In combination with the Innovation Studio, we also launched an ecosystem fund. And this ecosystem fund is looking for companies that are in a process where they need to scale up. So we're investing in those companies. We're also integrating them into the studio ecosystem, and we're helping them, as I said, with all these other tools. And the ecosystem fund is run as a joint venture with Monday Capital, which is a very well-known investor. They're over there, and they have technical background and financial background. So they are like really, really, really interesting people to work with, and you can ask people that already received support from them. One of the things we recently launched, actually last week, is a developer's website. So far we had, all the documentation was spread out. If you ever tried to engage with RSK documentation until now, it was kind of like all over the place and hard to find. We launched this developer's website. We're going to be improving it over time, but if you go today, you will see that it's much different than it used to be, and it's an easy way to get involved with us and understanding our technology. As I said, the idea is, as the core development team of RSK continues to build up all the technology stack, what we want is we want to go to the market, go outside, engage with the community, and say, how can we help? How can we bring you on board to our ecosystem? And it's an open platform. We're here in the 3 Embarcadero Center. There's people there that can help you, and we would love to engage with as many of you as possible and get feedback and hopefully build things together. These are some of the things that we're thinking we're going to be working on in the coming months. As I said, we are starting with APIs and libraries. We're in the process of publishing some of them pretty soon. We're also building a global developers network, not just in the US. The original team is based in South America and Argentina, so we have a very strong presence there. But we're also going to Asia soon. We're going to be opening the Asia Hub soon. And this is a network that we want to leverage not only for us to find new projects, but also to bring projects that we found here in the US into our ecosystems in Latin America and Asia. As I said, some new investments coming from the Ecosystem Fund to be announced soon, and we're going to be launching an accelerator program first in Latin America, and then probably replicating that in other markets. And so these are some of the links. If you want to take a picture, I will leave it up for a few minutes of how you can get engaged. But basically, what I wanted to share with you is the overall strategy. We are building a really, really, really solid and secure platform which allows developers to bring their dApps and be secured by Bitcoin. So if you're a Bitcoin supporter, this is where you should be building your applications. And we're open, we're here, and we want to talk to as many of you as possible. And I think I have a few minutes, so I can probably take a couple questions. If not, yes, sir. So the core language, all the core smart contract language is Solidity. So we're fully compatible with Ethereum applications. Sorry.
Any plans to work with Rust at all?
With what?
Rust? No.
Not any plans yet, but as I said, part of the reason why we're building this studio is to gather feedback from the community, and if there is enough critical mass, we can consider that for sure. Yeah. Any other ones? No. All right. Yes. Basically, because this is secured by the Bitcoin network. He asked what would be the elevator pitch for someone building a dApp on Ethereum, why they should use us. So I think two things. Number one, which is now, is that we are secured by the Bitcoin network. Number two, which is something that we are working and improving, is we're going to be the easiest blockchain to work with if you're not a hardcore blockchain developer. So through the libraries and through the APIs, yes.
Ethereum uses an account-based system and Bitcoin uses a UTXO model. So I'm curious if RSK can do both, or is it a UTXO model? Because some smart contracts are just easier in an account-based thing. Others are easier with a UTXO model. So
I have my technology helper here. As I said, I'm the VC guy, you know.
I think Ariel is not the tech guy, so I will. RSK is account-based, so it's a side chain to Bitcoin. It's running its own blockchain, but it's secured by the same. Indeed, today we reach 52% of the hashing power of Bitcoin. So now 52% of the Bitcoin miners in the world are securing both Bitcoin and RSK at the same time. So we are the safest smart contract platform in the world as of today. But from a blockchain point of view, it's a smart it's an account-based blockchain as well. So you have all the functionalities of Ethereum secured by the Bitcoin network, and the native currency is a smart Bitcoin. So you can do smart contracts with Bitcoin, anything you want. You can port any Ethereum application into RSK and it will run without any change. Another interesting thing we are building is a trustless two-way peg to Ethereum. So tokens from Ethereum will be able to be ported in a trust minimized way to RSK, not only the applications. Well, I would say, UTXO is much better in terms of privacy. Like the design of Bitcoin by nature is much more better protecting privacy. We are working on some things to improve privacy on an account-based model, but that's, I think, that's why we think we are like a middle security layer on top of Bitcoin. We think, our foundations are Bitcoin. We believe that Bitcoin is a store of value by nature, the safest blockchain, and will keep being that. But what we are doing is extending the Bitcoin ecosystem capabilities. There are some security trade-off for the sake of faster confirmation times. In average, you can confirm a transaction in 15 seconds, lower transaction cost. A transaction in RSK is 1 cent per transaction. So there are trade-offs, but depending on what you are doing is good enough. Very likely, if you want to store your life savings, you will go for Bitcoin. If you want, to do other kind of trades or interactions, like create a share economy or other things, you will choose RSK.
There.
We have time for one more question.
I'm sorry, I can't see the board very well. If somebody here, we have a lot of talent, wants to apply for a job in RSK, where should they send an email to?
Any of those emails will work.
Nice, thank you.
We're always looking for people, talented people, so we'll reply fast.
Thank you very much.
All right? Thank you, guys, and we'll be around if you guys want to follow up.